Darc and Moody, Moody and Darc. It's been real from the start. Speak the truth, then you playing your part. Nothing fake here. We've been real since daycare. Some change, some stay there. Came from the streets, we speak for the streets, we speak for the youth. Nothing but truth. Feel it in the booth, feel it in your soul, feel it in the cell, feel it on parole, feel it on probation, feel it when you free, totally free. Pardon me, till they pardon me, till they pardon we. Positivity from negativity, back to positivity. The podcast for the streets, helping you eat. We live by the code, we live what we speak. We revolutionize real love, honor, respect, loyalty, educating the masses, bringing unity. It's all or nothing. The podcast for you and me is Darc and Moody. We the voices of the community.
I hear voices right now. I can hear them just as plain as day.
Yeah. What up? This your boy Darc.
And it's your boy Moody, man.
You know what I'm saying? It's Darc and Moody, all or nothing. Know what I mean? We got somebody from Bridgeport up in the building.
Positive,
You know what I
brother.
mean? My man Aquil. You know what I mean? Introduce yourself to my peoples, man.
Hey, everyone. My name's Aquil from Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Aquil. I was saying Aquil. You know what I'm saying? Word. But yeah, man, people be saying we it's New Haven. You know what I mean? It's where we from, so we know a lot of people from New Haven, but we reaching out, man. This shit is straight out of Connecticut, not straight out of New Haven. So we got a Bridgeport cat in the building. You from Bridgeport, right?
Yo,
definitely.
but let me tell you something first, Darc.
Yeah.
Because I told him, the whole time we was having our technical difficulty, right?
Yeah.
You know he knew what to do.
Yeah.
I was watching. I didn't want to overstep. I'm like, let me let y'all finish and
All
figure
right,
it out.
no doubt.
He knew what to do the whole time.
Yeah, so he more computer savvy, he tech savvy. He been home 13 months. He don't know shit about computers. He learning on the fly. You know what I'm saying? I think I know a little bit more. But yeah, man, tell my peoples where you from first and foremost. Don't forget to mention. You know what I mean?
Hey. So I'm from Bridgeport, Connecticut.
You know
I
what I'm
work
saying?
for a program called Street Safe, straight out of Connecticut.
Word up, straight out of Connecticut.
Straight out of
man.
Connecticut.
Word up.
And
man.
we're here to serve the people in Connecticut.
That's right. You know what I mean? We gonna tell my peoples, man, like how my boy Aquil grew up, man. Like what type of household you grew up in, man.
I grew up.
Nope. You just told me some stuff too.
I grew up at a Bill Cosby house. Nah, let me stop playing. I grew up to a teen mom who, before she had me, she had just came out of her own situation, my father was in jail for the last 27 years. He just came home last year, and my grandparents was on drugs. My grandfather was the drug. My grandmother was on crack, and my grandfather was the drug dealer. So I grew up in a typical urban project area where, I say typical because it's my norm.
Your norm.
But I grew up in a household ran by my grandmother, and my mother running in and out, doing whatever she was doing, and me trying to figure it out myself.
All right, no doubt. And you got siblings, anything like that?
So my father has 9 children. I got a brother 17 days younger than me, a sister 1 or 2 months younger than me. My mother eventually had kids once I got older.
Hold on, Moody, how many kids your pops?
No, I about to say that sound like you.
Oh.
3 days apart.
Nah, my kids 10 days apart.
So my bad. 10, 3. I messed up a whole week. That's a whole week you was free.
Yeah. But how many kids your pops got?
My pops, he got, I say 14, but people say 13. So
y'all not claiming somebody.
Nah, I might be wrong. Because when you start counting, you start missing people.
Definitely understand.
Yeah. So y'all 13, 14 deep.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And y'all 9, 10 deep.
Yeah. We about 9, 10. My father 9, 10. My mother got 2. Then she entered a relationship, and he had 5 kids.
Yeah.
And that's
so,
one of my sisters I'm with right now. So
Yeah.
we all, you know,
So it's like
it's
17,
a whole,
18,
it's a whole
yeah.
slew of us.
Word up. So boom, you grew up in the household. What was the best thing from your childhood that you could remember?
Family.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, we fought, we argued, but the fact that we were there for each other, I mean, we could be fighting in the house right now, all of us scrapping. And when we went outside, if anybody said something or did something, we would unite and it'd be against them.
Voltron.
And that's just how it was. And I mean, with my family now, it's still like that to this day, but that's just one of the most memorable moments of my childhood is the fact of having family and being able to come together. And I mean, most people don't go through it, but when one person's lights get cut off or their water get cut off or somebody get evicted, now you got your aunt in the house with her 3 kids and your cousin with their 3 kids, and we all together. And, you know, as kids, you want that because you get to be close to your family, but you don't really know the stress that leads on the adult and how much of a struggle that is that now you got adults who used to have their own place now all shacked up together.
Yeah. And what's the hardest thing you remember growing up as a kid?
Family.
Let's break it down again.
And what I mean by family, I mean, you know, although it's family, jealousy and envy does happen. And that, you know, that's the reality of it. And so if someone's doing better than someone else, you know, your family, you're supposed to stick together, but somebody's going to be upset about it. Somebody's going to say something and shit's going to go left.
Sometimes 9 brothers. Who the closest brother, man?
That's easy.
Yeah.
My brother Rob, he definitely the closest one.
Word.
We done fought at least 65 times.
Yeah. How close are y'all in age?
He's 5 years older than me.
Oh, wow. So the brother that's 17 days, y'all not close like that.
Yeah, they live in New York. I don't really.
Yeah, so y'all don't rock.
I mean, I talk to him and birthdays, holidays. You know, whenever he come down, we might get up, but not.
Moody, who your closest? Don't do that. Who the closest? Who the closest brother sister to you?
My sister Tree.
She the closest?
Yeah.
Cause why? Cause you did 25 joints. It had to be something to deal with that.
Nah, before that, that's my mother youngest, my father youngest daughter. That's the one, you know, that's my mother child. So that's the one I was around more.
Yeah.
My little brother, he was bad, so
Yeah.
Who's yours?
Who mine?
Yeah.
My closest brother?
Yeah. No, relative sibling.
That was the thing. He asked me brother. He ain't say sibling.
Yeah.
Because my answer
I think he only got one brother though.
Yeah, Marcus my closest brother.
He only got one brother. That's why I said sibling. Because he got sisters.
Yeah. Word. My sisters, they on like equal playing field pretty much, man. I did a lot of time in jail. My sister on my father's side, she wrote me the most. And she came to see me a lot. So we kind of tight. And my sister, the youngest from my mom's, we close. And the older from my mom's, we close too, but we don't talk as much as we did before I went in. And I know for a fact it got a lot to do with me during that time. You know what I'm saying? I did a lot of time and people wasn't there for me like I expected them to be. So I'm probably a little standoffish because of that. But I love them all the same. You know what I mean?
So you say you're from Bridgeport, right? And I just told you I really don't know too much about Bridgeport, only from what people told me. What part are you from? Like what area? Like give me detail about what area are you from?
So, I mean, originally my family's from Father Panic Village. It was torn down when as I became a little toddler or whatever, a little bit older. But I'm from Stratford Avenue, the east end of Bridgeport / the east side of Bridgeport.
So that's projects or
no, that's just neighborhoods.
Yeah.
It's one's a one way.
But you did live in Father Panic once upon a time.
Yes.
Yeah, he was a baby.
Yeah.
The first 6 years of my life.
Well, that's a long time. You gotta remember that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, granted, living in Father Panic, like I said, me and my mother are 16 years apart.
No doubt.
So she had an apartment in Father Panic, and she was in the street. So what do you think the apartment was?
Father Pam is our Aspen Street.
Yeah, I live
everybody family came from there. Somehow, some way, somebody cousin, uncle.
I was born in the island. My mom's moved to Ashman Street when I was like 3. and I lived like them high rises. I lived in there till I was about 10, maybe.
Like my whole family
Same
is
thing.
from Father Panic. Like my mother's father, her mother. Once everybody came from North Carolina and South Carolina,
Mhm.
they
settled
moved to
there.
Father Panic.
Yeah, and that's word is bond. It's crazy. Same shit with me. My mother and my father both from the island. My mom's lived on the top of the hill. My father lived down at the bottom of the hill. They met. Yeah, I mean, my both grandmothers on both sides, aunts, uncles, all that. They all from the hood, from the
Yeah,
same hood.
it was a good project for you.
Yeah, it was great.
I was down the street.
Yeah, I could
mean,
go anywhere.
three
I got
doors
like
down.
10 houses I could go to. Yeah, so boom, we're gonna go to middle school, man. No, we're gonna go to elementary school. Tell what elementary school you went to.
I went to Beardsley on the east side. And that's why I said east and east side, because I always, from Father Panic's on the east side.
Yeah.
My mother she moved into an apartment down the street from Father Panic.
Yeah.
But I always hung on the east end.
So east side, east end, what's the difference? Like, because I don't know.
It's a railroad track.
Yeah.
That crosses down Barnum Avenue and that separates the two. But and then the east side, the major difference is the east side is majority Hispanic. Like the east side is, I would say, about 75% Hispanic.
Yeah.
And the east end is at one point was about 90% black.
Yeah.
And the east side doesn't let black people in it.
So the Hispanics and the blacks didn't get along like that, or they got along?
I would say that yes and no. The Hispanics kind of it's this own world on the east side. Like they got their own everything. Like
when you say Hispanic, you mean like it's Puerto Rican, Dominican, Mexican, or just what? What's the?
It's majority Hispanic, majority Spanish, and
what you mean? Like Puerto Rican?
Puerto Rican. That's what I meant. My apologies. Majority is Puerto Rican, and there are some Mexicans, but for the most part, it's Puerto Rican.
And a few Dominicans or no?
Dominicans, they started to come later on, but for the most part, we're just Puerto Ricans.
All right. Shout out to the Puerto Ricans. You know what I mean? Shout out to everybody, all the Bridgeport people. You know what I mean? East End. Yo, what's like? It's a West End.
Yeah.
All right.
It's East End, East Side, West End, South End, the Hollow, and the North End.
Jay, let me tell you a story because I'm working up there right now. I'm doing PCA. So they're like, yo, it's a job in Bridgeport. Like, goddamn, Bridgeport, what the street at? So they're like, Park Ave. So I Google it. I call my people from Bridgeport. I'm like, yo, Park Ave at? They're like, what park?
Yeah.
So like, man, it's the number right here. You know, I want to make sure I ain't hitting no hoods and you know, so I go up there. I'm like, oh, I must be in the good part of Park Ave because Sacred Heart there. I told you when you go, I'm by Sacred Heart. There's nice houses over here. I'm in a gated condominium joint. I said, oh, I didn't know they had this over here.
Yeah, that's Fairfield, Trumbull area.
Yeah, but it's still Bridgeport.
Yeah, well,
where
the address
is
Bridgeport. The address.
Oh,
wait, I go right into Trumbull. As soon as I go down the street, I see the welcome to Trumbull.
What they did though, they took part of Bridgeport away from that area. So like Sacred Heart used to be in Bridgeport, but they redistrict Bridgeport and they put Sacred Heart. They changed the zone and they made it to Trumbull / Fairfield area now.
Oh, I got my GPS, man. I'm in Bridgeport. I'm telling y'all, I'm in Bridgeport. I'm outside.
Word up. Hey, yo, so boom, we back in elementary school, right? What friends you got that you was friends with in elementary school? Elementary is like K through 4, right?
So I really didn't have friends in school. My biggest thing is when I lived on the east side. At the time though, my mother only had one kid and my father was in jail, so I didn't really have any siblings. But my mother has like 4 or 5 first cousins. They all got 3 kids apiece. They all was raised in the same household. They lived on the East End.
Yeah.
So when I got out of school at 3:00, the first thing I did was get dropped off to their school and hang on Stratford Avenue with them.
So
my cousin was my friends. Yeah. I never really dealt with too many people in school. That was just school. When school was out, I was straight to Stratford Avenue to my cousins.
All right, no doubt.
So my name's Aquil. My cousin name's Aquil. My mother name's Latanya. His mother name's Latasha.
Facts.
So that's my friend.
Yeah. Yo, so boom, we gonna go to middle school. Middle school got to be different. What's the livest middle school in Bridgeport?
So I would say I went to Lavis Middle School in Bridgeport. I graduated from Wilbercross. And that
Wilbur Cross?
Yes.
That's the name of the middle school up there?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
It's at the top of the hill in Trumbull from the Tiers.
Shout out to Wilbur Cross. I went to Wilbur Cross High School.
I transferred out of we moved to the north end from the east side and ended up going to the school over there at the top of the Trumbull Garden Projects. And everyone who gets kicked out of a school gets sent to that school.
All right, I'm gonna ask you this, right? You say Wilbur Cross Middle School in Bridgeport is the livest. Who would say a different school was livest? Like, how many people would say, man, that nigga bugging? This school was the livest.
If you're gonna throw a school up and you're gonna be debated, you're gonna say Wilbur Cross, Dunbar, and then you might get Blackham. Kids from the East End, Blackham. The kids from the East End, I definitely say Dunbar was the livest, and then the kids Blackham, you might get more of notoriety because people from all different sides of town go there.
Livest middle school in New Haven, Moody.
Sheridan.
And because you went to Sheridan.
I went to Sheridan.
I mean, because that's why it's the livest to you, because you went there.
Nah.
You've been up to other schools and you see that Sheridan is the livest.
I went to Troop. I went to.
You went there? I'm
Troop.
saying, yeah.
Like, Troop.
So Sheridan liver than Jackie Robinson.
Most definitely.
And Sheridan liver than Fairhaven.
Most definitely.
But and then when you say live, what do you mean live? Because my aspect of live then was different. I mean,
what it was then.
At that time, we didn't even have teachers. Like our teachers, one girl fought one teacher, the other girl, somebody fought another teacher. So we was just running the classrooms ourselves.
You know what I want to tell you? You want to watch live? And we just talking about projects. How all your family was in there, right?
Yeah.
Sheridan had 6 projects.
Yeah.
Going to that school.
Yeah,
so that's different
West
flavor.
Hills,
West Manor,
Westville Manor, Brookside,
BV, the Tribe.
Oh, that's a lot of
There's a lot of people. Well, my baby mother she was on the Tribe. She went to Sheridan.
Yeah. Well, I think Fairhaven was the livest.
You went there.
Absolutely. and everybody from the island went there. You know what I'm saying? The biggest projects.
We had all the flavors, man.
But I understand that.
And we had, matter of fact, your baby mother went there. Tasha went there. We had to trade. We had to trade in there. We had to trade. We had 6 projects, and like every area went there.
Yeah.
What school did that?
No school that I know of. Jackie Robinson just had the Ville kids, right?
Maybe some little Hamdenville.
Island kids.
Yeah.
Bessie Ross had I think the G and Eastern Circle and all that went there. The Bessie Ross.
So imagine going to a school.
And Troop had what?
Everybody from New Haven area.
So when I'm saying Wilbercross, everyone who got kicked out of school, like if you had a fight and you got 10 days, you got busted Wilbercross.
Yeah, that's our.
So that was a transitional.
It wasn't a transitional school. It was a regular public school, and whenever you got the district, whenever someone got successfully suspended or they got into a fight, they just automatically transfer you to Wilbercross. Right. It wasn't an alternative school. It wasn't one of those transitional schools. It was a regular public school. But everybody who did something wrong, you got busted Wilbercross. Like if they didn't want to deal with you, the school ain't have teachers. They're like, well, you know what? We'll just send them.
Where the teachers was at? What happened to the teachers?
They was getting in fights with the students.
So they kicked the teachers out.
No, the teachers wasn't coming.
But how you get there? I must have lost the thing. You went straight there, or you went to another school and you had to go there?
I moved, and where I moved to, the district was Wilbercross.
Oh, so they automatically put you in there. You didn't have to get in trouble.
I moved there, but my mother hung out on that project that was down the street.
Yeah.
So I fit right in with them kids anyway. And then really, once she
left, I'm still trying to figure out where the teachers was at.
Home.
Yo, so how y'all graduate and all that? Like, how you go to the next grade?
I didn't even go to school the last month and a half.
So every child, no child left behind.
The last month and a half, I went down south.
Yeah.
I went down to Georgia with my cousin.
And you still graduated?
I still graduated and ended up going to a Catholic high school from there.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, let's get to that. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, I ended up going to from middle school. I transitioned. I was down south, and my coach called me at the time I played basketball, not too seriously. He was like, "Yo, you want to go to Kobe?" I'm like, "Sure, why not?"
Kobe is the Catholic.
It's a
school.
Catholic, so Kobe Cathedral.
I heard of them.
So I'm like, "All right, why not?" I took the test and called me like, "Yo, you got in."
Livis High School, Bridgeport.
That's debatable.
Debated.
I'm gonna go with the one I graduated from.
Kobe?
No,
Oh.
Kobe gave me I graduated from Harding, so
Harding.
I'm definitely gonna say Harding.
All right, and it's what's the
Central?
other one?
It's Harding, Central, Bassett, and
Bassett.
Buller Havens.
I heard Bassett. I heard they was live.
I mean, you can say if you from the West End and the PT area, you can say Bassett is live, but I mean, I'm gonna say Harding is live because that it was entertainment. Like it was game. It was.
That's how. That's what made it live.
It was it.
Word.
And I went to Central. I went to Central for a couple months, but I got into like a couple altercations, maybe 2 or 3 altercations, guns, things left it just went left. So I ended up going to Harding. And then while I was at Harding, I ended up picking class up at Bassett. So I've been to literally all 3 of them.
Yeah.
But Harding is just something about Harding. Like
when you was in high school, which school had the prettier girls?
Yep, you're in trouble.
Buller Havens.
Huh?
Buller Havens.
Buller
Haven is a technical school down the street from Harding.
Yeah.
So that's what also spiced Harding up was that you had another school that got out a couple minutes before you and after you that they had to walk past your school.
Yeah.
So now you got 2 high schools, all the commotions in the world. At Harding, you got everybody from the East End and the East Side. So both sides of town that I'm from, we're all lumped up into one school.
You had to be a smart kid to go to Buller Haven? Like that was where the smart
No,
kids
it was a technical school. You just had to get the lottery or want to take up a trade.
Or be smart.
No.
All right, boom. So where we at? We in Harding being the livest, right? And then Buller Haven, Bassett, Central. What's the order? What's the top 5?
I will go Harding. I'm gonna have to go Central second. Buller Havens, Bassett's at the bottom.
Damn,
Bassett's the bubblegum bottom. They gonna kill me for that. I apologize, guys. But unfortunately, that's
top 5 high schools in New Haven.
Top 5 high schools.
High schools.
You know, Hill House and Google Pros is the number 1. They home base for New Haven.
But top 5.
You got Career, and then you got. Shoot, I only know those 3, but I know Hyde and Co-op and all them, but I never
Sound.
Yeah, I never went. I can't even tell you where them joints at.
You don't know where Co-op at?
I think I know.
Well, it's big as fuck now. Co-op is downtown, like right next to Gateway.
Yeah.
And Co-op is huge right now. That shit huge. It's different now.
I'm from the area. I ain't going to the other high schools, man, because it's going to get into something.
and that was a big thing too. Like Central people for Central, they would come, they would wait at the top of the hill with guns, wait for everybody to walk down, shootouts, fights, typical. I mean, what we thought was typical high school stuff.
Yeah, it was typical in urban cities.
Yeah.
Rough urban cities. New Haven, Hartford, Bridgeport, probably Waterbury, maybe.
My sophomore year, Kobe gave me the boot.
And Kobe is
the Catholic high school.
Right.
I don't even know how I made it through those 2 years. When I tell you it was rough,
yeah,
like you had uniforms.
There's a lot of black kids in there.
Yeah, because it's a school that predominantly has athletes in it. Yeah. So majority of the kids that were there, I would say 60% of the kids there were African American. But
so more than half was black.
More than half was, I would say more than half. Well, not to say African minorities. More than half was minorities.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, no book bag, no uniform, no books. It was time. I would just go. The Greens was down the street. I would walk to the Greens before school, get high, then think about going to school. Then I'm like, nah, I ain't even going. Like I struggled through the first 2 years of Kobe. Then I went to Central. I got to Harding, and I was like, yes, I made it.
You wanted to get there anyway.
I was trying to get to Harding from the beginning.
Yeah.
I was dying.
So you think you as a kid, you were sabotaging Kobe?
I definitely was sabotaging Kobe.
Yeah.
I got to Harding. The Harding kicked me out.
And that was the livest school.
Yeah. In Bridgeport at the time, if you get a serious arrest offense, you get automatically kicked
Well,
out.
they still do that. I mean, they were doing that back then.
So I got arrested for robbery, and when I got arrested for robbery, off school misconduct, I was thrown out, and I was sent to the alternative school for a couple months, and then I eventually came. I think I came back like 6 months later, and caught another case, and got expelled again. And then about 6 or 7 months later after that, they let me back in and let me graduate with them and move forward.
All right.
But my whole Harding experience, I thought by Harding, I was grown already.
In your brain.
In my brain, I was grown. My goal when I got to Harding was make it to 12, 1 o'clock, walk back down the street to Pembroke, sell crack until the next day. And hopefully I'll make it up for school in the morning. My goal when I got to Harding was just to sell drugs. Like that was the goal. The goal was I started working in my senior year, but the goal was really just go to Pembroke and sell drugs.
What put you into the streets? Like what made you, in your mind, from your memory, what made you want to pick up a pack?
I'm trying to be nice. I don't want to.
Nah, you gotta keep it all or nothing, man.
We ain't on good terms right now.
Yeah.
So I don't want to throw her under the bus. With my mother.
Yeah. Moms made you want to do it or told you got to do it? What happened?
You can't live nowhere for free.
Yeah.
That's number one line from 14 to 15. You can't live nowhere for free.
Yeah.
However, you take that, you take.
So that's what made you want to pick up a pack.
Yeah, she hustling.
14?
She about 15, 16. She hustling, she doing that. She living the time of her life, coming in 2, 3 in the morning, coming in. She got I want to do that. Like, her house, my mother's house has always been the house. Like my coworker Dennis, I work with him now, but he used to be in the house.
I lived with her for 90 days.
He stayed with me. Like, that's just what, anybody from the projects, anybody from the hood that's in her era that was gang banging and whatever they was doing, her house was open to you.
You said your pop just came home.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Rupert, Jamaican.
I might know.
Rupert Crooks.
Rupert,
Jamaican?
You said Crooks?
Mm-hmm.
Probably known by Lee.
I know when I was in there.
What joint he was in?
He was in Osborne for the last. He was in Osborne, I think he went from Osborne to McDougal. So that happened while he was in Osborne. He was in he worked in the AP room. He was there for about like a decade or so. Something happened with him somewhere there, and then they ended up transferring him back to McDougal. And then I think like 3 or 4 years later, they ended up transferring him back to Osborne.
And what he went down for?
Murder. So now he did his 20. He did 25 for murder, and then they did 2 for a gun afterwards, and then they deported him to Jamaica.
And how old was you when he went to jail?
I don't really know, because he went on a run 2 to 3 years prior. 33.
33.
Yeah, he did 27.
He did 27, but
so he was 3 probably when he caught the case.
He don't know. I think he said
when he get out.
When he caught the case, he got caught later on.
I know he said 3 years he was on a run.
So he got out. He got out about 14. He got out about 14, 15 months ago. Yeah. Well, he got out.
So you like 2.
He got out about, I say 18 months ago, but he had to be deported. So they sent him to the detention center, and then they kept him there, and then he got out like 4 months after that.
You had to be about 2. My question was, how you felt like growing up and knowing that he was in prison, like and seeing other people with fathers or no fathers, but how you felt?
I was happy about that. Well, me and my cousins, that was a badge of honor. My father was that. Like we arguing over who father. Like my cousin's father, he was in the village, and he was that too. And now we arguing like my father that. Like that was the competition. Who father was really that?
Yeah. So growing up without him, how you feel like it impacted your life?
I think I would say, for me right now, where I'm sitting, I say that it was a benefit to me. not for the fact that the absentee of a dad, but the support that came with him being gone. Because my grandfather stepped up. I mean, granted, it was probably in a healthy role, but he stepped up and became a father to me. And I don't think without the tools and the things that he installed into me, I would be the person that I am today.
Yeah, respect. Shout out to grandpops,
No,
man.
grandpa. I just got
He's still alive?
No, he passed away.
All right. R.I.P. to grandpops too, man. Word up. And shout out to all the grandfathers that step up and grandmothers that step up in those roles, man.
I'm a grandfather. I gotta step up.
Congratulations.
Shout out to grandfather Moody over there, man.
You know about like being a grandparent. I was saying this. If you got a female, I think the parents stay a little more connected to the child. If you got a son and he got a baby mother, and if he beefing with his baby mother, you ain't gonna see the child like you want to see the child.
I don't know though. You gotta step up, granddad.
You ain't gonna see the child. If he doing wrong,
Depending on the circumstances.
It depends on the person.
Yeah, it depends on the person.
Yeah. Because
Well,
my
you got a
mother and
daughter?
father they ain't get along. They was like this. And I was my grandpeeps and they was around.
And,
I was closer. Well, it's the same. For
But
me,
your
'cause they
grandmother
both lived
probably
in the block.
my
My grandmother lived down the hill.
Yeah,
She
so
lived
they
in the block.
allowed it. They allowed it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you could walk
I
over
could
there.
walk to the crib.
Yeah.
Yo, grandma, what up? Sound right there. Yeah.
But with a daughter, and you know, she have it at a young age or something like that, 19, 20, she most likely she stay at home, you know, and you're around more. The son.
What I hear is step it up, granddad.
Yeah, I gotta step it up.
That's what I
gotta
heard.
step-
What you
and my-
heard? What
and
you
my-
heard?
And my grandson from Bridgeport. I call him Bad Bridgeport babies.
Yeah. His grandpa. Step it up, grandpa.
because you can make that call and go and see.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
listen, I
Just
want to
like
see
he
I want to
could.
see my grandbaby. What up? Like I
Yeah.
don't got nothing to do with this little man.
Oh, that's what I say.
And,
That's what I
and
say.
she be like, what? Man, fuck that, granddad.
Nah, she ain't.
What she say?
Nah, I go through my son because I don't
Yeah,
see,
see, that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the
Do that.
problem.
That nigga the problem, right?
Yeah.
No, your logic is the problem.
No, that nigga the problem because he got her
No,
mad.
listen. They not getting along. They be beefing. You the granddad. You
You
gotta
got nothing to
step
do with
up and
that.
go. I don't got nothing to do with my son. With that, I'm the granddad. Let me see the grandbaby. And I just want to have a relationship with him because I've been away for 27 years, 25, 20. How many years you did?
25.
You did 25 years. You wasn't there for him. Let me be there for him. I did 25. You got to talk to her directly. You can't go through him
Yeah,
because
you're right.
they like this. You got to
Right.
just step up like Aquil granddad, man.
You're right.
You know what I mean?
You're right. I'm gonna bring him right to your house
Bad
and drop him
granddad.
off.
Bad granddad.
I'm
You
gonna bring
bad
him right to your
granddad.
house.
Yo,
Drop
it's a
him off.
movie called Bad Grandpa. You bad grandpa,
I'm
man.
gonna bring him right to your house and drop him off.
Hey, man. I love the kids. Layla gonna thug them up.
We're like, yo, there you go.
Word up, man. So boom, where we at now? Yeah, Pops got deported and all that. Have you ever been in the Bing? You've ever been incarcerated?
Yes, I've done 3 years in jail.
3 years.
I mean, I've been in jail. I did 3 years here in jail. I've been arrested though, and was in different counties. I mean, from here, New York, South Carolina, Georgia,
What's the biggest offense for you?
Rico.
So you got indicted in the RICO?
Yes, racketeering. Well, the 3 years I did within the state law though.
Yeah. And you only received 3 years in the RICO.
Hmm?
How you got out? You got the case overturned? Like what happened?
No. I ended up taking 10 suspended after 5,
Oh,
and I did 3 out of 5, and went on from there.
yeah. All right. I want to double back to the hustling days, right? Like what made you I know you said moms, but it had to be something else. It was about paying bills, it was about getting fresh, it was about just
Paying
wanting to be in the
bills.
game.
It was always about paying bills. You couldn't live for free. I mean, and the only hustle I knew was to sell drugs. So not only mom, but my mother, her brothers, like everybody I knew in my family sold drugs. So
Yeah. So it was like
that
a
was
family
inevitable.
business.
That was just how that was gonna go. I'd never seen any other option. They didn't think there was another option.
Wow.
That was the way out. And a part of that, I always knew I was gonna go to jail. Like I was always counting on it. Like, oh, I'm gonna do 5 the first time, maybe 5 the next one. Like I had the life on the installment plans. I had my life ready for that. Like that was where I was going.
No doubt. That's deep. That's interesting.
Now we just talked about that. I said you did 3. I said I'm proud of him sitting here. We doing what he doing. I said usually dude do 3. He be like, here come in the 25 years I see dude do 3 or 4 bids, 3 years, come back, do another 4 years, come back, do another 5 years. Nigga done did 20-some years.
Yeah.
So and my 3 was difficult. It was rough. When I tell you and granted, it wasn't what, and I'm not, I would be proud to be like, yo, I did 3 and that's what saved me and stopped me. It wasn't because my mindset was still, while I was doing my time, I was putting out,
wait to get out.
I was putting a roster together of people who I was going to sell drugs with too. Like I only dealt with white people in jail that were getting high and became my friends, dealt with them while they were released. They were still contacting me. I was preparing to go out and do whatever I had to do. I just, I don't know. I just didn't.
Now, you ever been involved in any police brutality, anything like that?
Of course. I mean, one officer, me and him right now, and this time in my life, we're on better terms. I was arrested. He arrested me 17 times. He arrested my stepfather, my mother, slammed my head against the wall. When I got to jail, he contacted the jail, told them I was a gang member. So my first 2.5 months in jail, I was in SED. No outside communication. We had no counselor. We had nothing. Then after that, I was sent to the gang unit. So once I was in the gang unit, then 3 months into the gang unit, he wrote another letter and had me sent to be a threat member. So then I was sent to Northern. So then I finished the program in I was in Northern, and then they switched us from Northern to McDougal at the time. That's when they moved the gang unit, the threat members from Northern to McDougal. So then I finished off in McDougal. I finished the gang program in McDougal.
And that was part of the 3 years.
Yeah, that's the first 12 months of it.
He was chasing you down.
Definitely. Yeah. So prior to, it was a lot going on. It was a lot going on. My co-defendant had, in the process of this, was arrested for murder. I was shot right before I went to jail. They took my phone and part of that investigation with the murder. So it was like a lot of moving pieces going on at the same time.
Yeah. And where you got shot at in the body?
I got shot in both my leg. No, all 3 times in my leg.
Same leg?
Yeah.
It broke it?
No. The first time it was through, no nothing. The second time was the lower leg, knee. It was through, nothing. The third time, which was about 2 to 3 years ago, that one killed the nerves and half of my leg is there.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. So you got a little limp or you pimp? How you
Yeah, I got a drop foot.
Do you finesse it though?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I've come a whole, like I don't wear a brace or anything no more. I used to have to wear a brace. I used to have to drag my foot. It would be real noticeable, but now I'm able to make it through. I mean, you might see me tip over. I tip over a lot. Like I might be standing still. I might tumble, but
hit the deck.
Not like I catch myself, but I fall pretty frequently. Like I'll just be standing still and my body tip over.
Yeah. And that was purposeful. That shot to the leg was purposeful. They was aiming for you.
The last time,
yeah.
No, the last time was a bunch of commotion. I was at a store. Somebody pulled out a gun. The store guy pulled out a gun. Somebody else went to pull out a gun, and when he went to pull it out, he let one go, and I got shot. And then it just went haywire.
You got something to say? You look like you got something to say.
I don't like doing that, man. You pull out and you don't just go off.
Yeah.
And then it went kind of haywire. It went like
the dude in the store was bucking back. It was a gunfire. It was a shootout.
So the guy from the store pulled out. He started shooting in the ear. This guy pulled out. He shot me, and then he got shot.
By the store owner.
I don't know who shot him, but he got shot right after I did.
Yeah.
And then we just both was in the hospital right next door to each other.
Well, I don't know who shot him either.
I don't know who shot him. I was shot on the floor. I don't know what was going on or what happened.
No doubt. I respect it. Yeah. Word. Hey, you been shot before, Moody?
Yeah.
Once or twice? A couple times?
Once.
Yeah. Word. What?
And then I spent 25 years in jail.
Yeah. Word up.
For nothing.
Yeah. You said for nothing?
Yeah, I just telling them, man. When you think about everything, man, you think
It's
about
not worth it.
It's not worth it.
Yeah,
It's just
at the
the
end of
origin
the day. Yeah. Word. I respect it. So boom. So now we had a different chapter in our life.
Definitely.
We had a beautiful chapter in our life, right? So tell us about this program you in.
So now I work for I supervise a program called Street Safe Bridgeport.
You supervisor?
Yes.
All right.
So the program is we work with at-risk young adults ages 14 through 24. I don't want to say at-risk, I want to say high risk, because they're the kids who coming out of probate, coming from the jails, coming from the court systems, coming from the hospital. One component of the job that we do is whenever someone is shot or stabbed within the city of Bridgeport, the hospital gives us a call. Just as the police arrive, we arrive as well. We're not arriving to do police work, but the team is based off of credible messengers that are from the city. Typically, when we get there, the hospital wants safety and the family outside just want answers. So the people from the hospital don't know the families. So it's going to be hard for them to kind of be able to give the right person the right information. So typically we're able to step in and kind of just mend that fence and give the hospital the safety that they want and give the family some of the answers. We know HIPAA, so we can't disclose too much information, but the hospital gives us enough information to tell the family, like, hey, he or she's okay, or something of that nature. So from that, we do receive clients. So we have clients who are been victims of gunshots. We have clients who are homeless. We have clients that from all aspects of life. And we're a 24-hour mentoring program. Our phones are on all day, all night. I have clients who call me at 3, 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning. And it's my job to respond. It's my job to be there and be able to give them some kind of clarity. I might not always have the answers, but I can walk you to the answers.
Yeah. And the program is called Street Safe,
Street
right?
Safe Bridgeport, yes.
Street Safe.
It's been in existence since 2014.
And the logo is what? The logo is 2 S's?
2 S's. And it's Street Safe, no space. Street Safe.
Street Safe. Word. So how you get involved with Street Safe? You was telling me a little bit about that.
So I came home May 4th, 2015. And when I came home, I was on a bracelet. My uncle was like, yo, matter of fact, my uncle didn't come from the feds. He got busted in Vermont. So I just came home for doing some time in Vermont. So he's like, yo, come into this program. I'm like, I'm on a bracelet. I got to be in the house at 9 o'clock. He's like, I'm like, what time? He's like, it's 6 to 8. I'm like, I'm not about to be spending my 2 hours before I got to be in the house after I just came home from jail, going to my motherfucking program. That's not what my life is about to do. I'm about to enjoy life right now. I'm going to call somebody. We're going to get up. We're going to turn up. We're going to do a bunch of shit. But sitting in the program talking to people, that's not what I'm going to do. Be like, come on. And you know how he would do. He's like, oh, let's go have a drink. We go have the drink, and
This your mother, brother?
My mother, little brother. Right. So he's like, we go have a drink, and we end up at the program. And if anybody knows me, I love to debate. Like that's just what I do for a living. Like dream job as a lawyer. Thinking about doing that. Still on pause. Don't really know yet. But I love to debate, and that's what we did. We embraced each other. We debated, and at the same time, we learned something. It was a thing called hang time. So
that's the name of it.
So I went to hang time, and shout out to Charlie Grady. He was running it, and while he was running it, for a couple months, I was going there, and so he's like, first I said it was my first job. It really wasn't my first job. He put me on a roof, and I went to the roofing job. I'm on the roof. The nigga like, I'm sliding off as I'm standing. He's like, "Oh, when you get to the edge, you'll stop."
You ain't have a harness on?
No. What do you mean when I get to the edge, I'll stop? So I'm supposed to put my faith in the edge stopping me from falling down?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. So I got down, I left. So he was like, he tried to put me in another manual labor job. And he realized that Charlie was like, "Yo, this ain't for you. I don't do manual labor. That's just not who I am.
You're a mental guy.
I'm a mental guy." So he ended up like, you know what? There was a program called Public Allies. At the time, my uncle, who had introduced me to it, to Charlie and hang time, he was doing Public Allies. The cohort runs from September to June. So part of Public Allies, what they do is they connect you with a nonprofit, and then the nonprofit they connect you with, you provide full-time hours, but the nonprofit only pays, so you get 17,000 throughout the whole 10 months. The nonprofit would pay a portion of that, and Public Allies would pay a portion of that, and the nonprofit would get a full-time employee for part-time work. So the employee that now Public Allies was under the same umbrella as the company that StreetSafe is under. So Charlie started finagling the bagel. I gotta shoot Charlie out again because he made some things happen, and he got the CEO of RiseApp to cut the bill and split me into StreetSafe and to his program.
So you in two programs.
So I was working at two programs at the time. One of them was Project Longevity, and the other one that was at the time when he was working at, where Hang Time was originally created out of. So he was doing that. And
so you work for Hang Time too?
I was working for Hang Time / Project Longevity and StreetSafe. I was doing part-time with both. When June 30th came and the year was over, both of them offered me a position. So I went part-time for both. And while I was going part-time for both, I ended up going to school. StreetSafe ended up hiring me full-time. So I went full-time StreetSafe, part-time Project Longevity while I was in school. But then 2018 happened and we had no state budget. So the program crumbled. It didn't really crumble. There was no funding. No nonprofit was receiving any funding. And then I ended up jumping into another program called Connecticut Juvenile Justice Alliance. And they do policy work around ending the criminalization of children. So I ended up doing some of that work until the budget got back. And then they offered me a job full-time at StreetSafe again.
What they consider children in that program?
What?
Like the age?
Technically, they consider children with youth under 25. I'm not using the word children. Youth under 25.
So StreetSafe is 14 to 24. That's the cutoff limit.
We say 24 is a cutoff limit, but if we get a kid that's 25 and need help, what are we gonna do? Say, hey, no, we can't assist you. We're gonna let you drown.
30 drown.
30, you gotta drown. 30. Unfortunately, we just not equipped to take and help everyone because then we won't have a program.
Yeah, no doubt. I respect it, man. Word. So StreetSafe, double S. I respect it, man. Word up.
So from there, I have to give kudos to the StreetSafe team and StreetSafe and the organization as itself, because not only did it allow me to give back to my community, it gave back to me because it allowed me to go to school and allowed me to utilize some of the stuff that I was doing and put it on paper. I was able to get my pardon. I got my bachelor's degree with a 3.8. It gave me room and allowed me to grow as I was still doing the work.
What you go to school for?
Sociology.
My son graduates Friday tomorrow.
Congratulations.
Same thing?
I graduated 2 years ago today from Southern.
He graduated
2 years ago to exactly May 18th, 2021 from Southern.
Shout out to the graduates out there, man. And you feel like this program, going to school for what you went to, and this program, you're able to use some of that stuff that you learned for the kids?
So everything I went to school with is based off the data that we received from the program. So like the schoolwork that I did was literally internships and stuff like that people were going to the programs that I already worked at. So I already had the experience. I was able to utilize my experience in my classroom. I was able to utilize my experience in the work field and other career opportunities.
Word up. That's a beautiful thing, man. Love it when the plan comes together.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But did you ever think that, because you just said it from me listening to your story, you was glorifying when you was little? My dad locked up for murder, my mother. Did you ever picture yourself sitting there right here with that shirt on,
Absolutely
talking
not.
to the youth?
Absolutely not. I said to myself, why would I want to deal with a badass kid like myself?
Yeah.
That was always my mindset. Like I said to myself, why would I ever want to deal with a kid that is bad as fuck like I am? Why? I was bad as fuck. I was terrible. I didn't listen. I would literally be running my head into walls.
Yeah.
No exaggeration. I would have been in here flipping off a wall. I ain't have no teeth. I had silver caps on the side. You know when you got silver caps in your mouth, you bad as fuck. That's what I was.
Yeah. Word.
I'm pissing my name in the street at like 2, 3. I was just bad. I was a project kid.
Yeah.
If I could add one to it, it'll be off the record.
Well, we on the record.
No,
right
I'm talking
now.
about I'm over here.
Yeah.
So it'll be a travesty to not mention this. You know I like to go there with him.
Come
I like
over
his
here. Come over
right.
here. Yeah, get in here. Tell your name. Tell your people your name real quick.
Salute everyone. Dennis. Some know me as Sato Big or whatever. I'm Street Safe, outreach work for Street Safe. I'm here with straight out of Connecticut.
Darc and Moody.
Darc and
Moody
all day.
man.
Darc and Moody, my supervisor, Aquil. I just wanted to make mention because the things that he's talking about and just touch bases, and I like to go there. So I like to see, just hearing the involvement and what he was, the real message is to the youth that there's so much gun violence that we're plagued by that you can turn it around from this same story to be doing, if not as better than Aquil, I say that first, or just as on the same level. And the reason why I wanted to jump in, because I think this is a more important element, that from a man and hearing his story to turn around and do that, kudos to him, salute. But this is the real part that I like the young people to know, because our cities are dying to gun violence. So he was able to, he'll tell you for himself. That's all I wanted to know. If you don't mind, it'd be a disadvantage.
So a part of my life changing around, I was able to get my pardon. And once I got my pardon, I legally can now own a firearm.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally right now, I own a firearm. Someone who has been a victim of gun violence, someone who has been around gun violence. I've been shot. My mother's been shot. My sister's been shot. My uncle's been shot. Like my whole family's been plagued with gun violence. And now I can legally safely hold a firearm. And that's things that these kids don't understand and know, that, granted, no one's saying give everyone a gun, but there's a legal way where you can own a firearm and have safety with it as well.
And for the right reason.
Hold on. My opinion on this, right? Because it's only an opinion. A person who has a legal firearm is going to be less likely to use it in a illegal manner. It's going to be less likely to commit a murder with your firearm. You're going to be less likely. If things happen and you wind up having to protect yourself, that's something different. But having a legal firearm, it match up to you. This joint is going to be, the shell's going to come back to your household. You're less likely to do something stupid.
Yeah, and then you don't want to lose your gun now.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You're going to be less likely to do something stupid. So for people who want guns and all that, do it the right way. And I'm pretty sure you won't be out there doing something stupid.
I tell you the story, right, about my son. He'd probably be mad at me, but, we like the guns. Like when he was younger, and it probably was the wrong way, because people are, oh, why you saying that? I'm like, yo, this is my son. All I could do is teach him better. Bro, you ain't never been arrested. Your man's out here running wild. Get your license. Wait it out. And then when you get your joint and them dudes running around with them illegal joint, you're like, man, my joint legit. I ain't got to run from the police.
No doubt.
And not to cut you, that was my point, being that I know that we see violence and take it in our own hands, but there are other means and ways that you can live right by the right way by protecting yourself, your loved ones, and not doing it no harm to no one. And just like some of the stuff that y'all echoing here. That's all I wanted to make mention, because I feel that if he didn't mention it, it would be a dishonor to him.
Yeah, he
Salute.
everywhere, every conversation, anywhere, he always throws the gun out because it's like, yeah. And I gotta give it to him because, like I said, he watched me from when I was a kid. He knew me before I knew me.
Let me ask you, son, you happy?
What?
Are you happy?
In life?
Just happy. Like you wake up, you know, you enjoying yourself, you're
Yes.
enjoying life. You go to the store, you like to get the food.
I just bought a house. I literally am living my
That's what I'm saying.
I'm literally at this stage in my life, it never felt or never been in a position to where I felt better. Like this is it. Like I never thought. I was having a conversation with someone and they're like, oh, they always, when life happens, when stuff happens, they always think the worst. And I said that used to be my mindset.
Yeah.
Until I changed my thinking and turned my life around. I mean, I'm prepared for the worst, but in my mind, the worst isn't what I'm thinking about. The best is what I'm thinking about, because that's where I'm headed. I'm not looking backwards and thinking about shit that could go wrong. I'm thinking about what's gonna go right.
Yeah, that's how I live my life.
Because so much of my life has went right now.
Yeah.
There's no way that I could not be like, well, you know what? What's gonna happen next? That's good for me.
Yeah. That's why I look for the good things to happen. Of course, bad things can take place and all that, but I'm an optimist. So I believe that, you know what I mean, if you put your best foot forward, most likely good things are gonna happen. So, you know what I mean? Hey yo, I wanna shout out La Isla Spanish Restaurant, you know what I mean? 2779 Dixwell Avenue. Come get that good Spanish food, man. Word up. And shout out to the world. 59 Welly Avenue, man. Yeah, I mean, go get you some good clothing, that drip and all that. And shout out to Beyond TV. Yeah, I mean, you could catch Darc and Moody on Beyond TV. And word, man, Darc and Moody, all or nothing, man. Straight up and down. La Isla Spanish Restaurant, 2779 Dixwell Avenue. Catch us out there in the Freddie Fixer Parade too. Come get some of these good food, man.
And change is possible, man.
Yo, change possible, man. Change is possible.
Y'all looking at change.
Word up.
They looking at change.
It's all changed, man. I had 100 years in prison. I'm free. My boy did 25 years. He free, and we out here. Yeah, I mean, got.
I go to work at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I mean,
and I drink coffee and donuts.
2 or 3 jobs.
2 or 3 jobs.
And to call a spade, I make more money now than I have ever in my life.
Word.
And that's not to say I wasn't. And that's not to say I wasn't hustling and making any money, but I'm bringing in 6 figures now in my life, and I don't have to look over my head, and I do whatever. Like, you know, I wake up and do whatever I want. Like if I decide, hey, you know what, I want to jump on a plane. I might need to have some PTO time, but I'm gonna jump on a plane and go to wherever I want. I have that capability. I can do that.
Yo, Darc and Moody, all or nothing, and we out. Straight up. Shout out to Connecticut.
Salute.